Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. I am thrilled that we have Tammy Vincent here with us, all the way from Florida, and she's an author and coach and a speaker, and she's got also amazing and interesting business that she's actually offering, and she's looking not to sell anything, but actually looking for people. So, Tammy, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, well, hi, my name is Tammy Vincent. Thank you for having me. And I'm a bunch of different things. So basically, if anybody has ever heard of adult children of alcoholics, I am an ACOA empowerment coach. So what I do is I help people that grew up in dysfunctional families really step out and overcome all of the mindset blocks and everything else that goes along with that. So that's how my coaching business got started. And I speak on empowerment and resiliency and overcoming trauma and just being your own best you. So that's really what I do. And I have a bunch of different projects going on. Like I said, I am a speaker. I have a podcast myself. I love that. And that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, excellent. So tell us a little bit more about like what inspired you to actually get into all these different businesses.
So I grew up with two very abusive, neglectful, alcoholic parents. And I did not realize until I was an adult the damage that does to you. So I went on this like 30-year hiatus of just throwing everything at the wall to try to fix my own issues and help myself and be happy and kind of overcome all that. And then after about 25 years, I was like, good golly, I have so many tools. I'm an NLP practitioner. I do Reiki. I do, mindset work. I do all kinds of stuff. And it all came about from my own journey. So I realized it doesn't take 25 years to get to where I am. It can literally take 3 months. You just have to have the tools. So I decided I lost a business during COVID and I said, nope, I'm not going back to that business. I'm going to do something I love. And that is writing and podcasting and speaking and just helping people because people deserve to live their best lives.
Totally. And can you tell us a little bit more about this new system that you have in place, where sort of other coaches and authors can share their books and courses?
Yeah, so I did a summit. I know a lot of people have heard of like summits, and there's lots of different speakers on them. And I did one in December called Shattering the Stigmas. And it was all based on getting rid of the narratives around mental health disorders. And I had 45 different speakers on there. And halfway through the summit, I realized, wow, we're all saying the same things, but we're saying it differently. And what you hear might not be what someone else hears. And sometimes you might hear something from me and it doesn't mean the same as if you hear the exact same words from someone else. So I have my own courses online that deal with the things I deal with, but I thought there's so much wisdom out there and there's so many people that have shared experiences. And I'm like, why don't I do courses where I can get contributors and they can put in their lead magnets and offer their coaching services and sell their books because then people have choices. It's not just my client coming to me and saying, okay, Tammy, what you say is it. They have ways they can look in one of the courses, and one of the courses might be on healing your inner child, and they can have contributions from 10 different coaches talking about the same thing, but in 10 different ways. So it's a way for because I'm going to be marketing the courses for people. That way you can just put it out there and it's out there. I sell the courses. And I'm not this, I think healing should be, I don't think you should spend the rest. You've paid your price if you grew up in a crazy household. I don't think it should be violently expensive. So like even my best courses, sometimes I sell for $27. So this is a good, inexpensive way for contributors to put a book in there, put a lead magnet, put a freebie in there that grows their email list. And they can build that way, build their list through my courses, and then hopefully grow their business. And if nothing else, share their story and share their wisdom.
Wonderful. And so what's your sort of goal with this for the next 3 years?
I would like to have all 50 courses up and running and just be spending the time marketing the courses and help answering questions. And I want, like, my goal literally is to have at least 10, 10 to 15 full modules in each course, plus a book list and a resource guide and everything so that people can buy, eventually I want all, people to just be like, hey, I'll give you $200 for all 50 courses, or whatever it is, whatever that price point is. Obviously, they're going to start off free until I have more contributors because I just want people getting them and I want them getting it out. But it's also something, I feel like I actually just recently had a stroke and it really made me realize I want something that I don't have to relaunch every year, that I don't, that I want something that I can just work really hard for a couple years, get it in place, and then it kind of runs itself, or my daughter can come in or my kids can help me with it because they're in the same game, the same boat I'm in. So um that's my goal, really.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks for sharing that. And then also, this podcast is called Open Book Entrepreneurs, so we share all the good things that are happening and then some of the challenges as well. And can you tell us a little bit more about how do you deal with, the challenges, possibly having all these different businesses, you may have number of challenges that you're facing. So how do you deal with that and how do you stay motivated in those situations?
Honestly, it's been a long, hard struggle. I'll be very honest. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit because I just think I just never wanted to have, I just didn't want to, I didn't like authority. I didn't like having bosses. I've always wanted to have my own thing. So every time I did something, I turned it into my own business. But the biggest, so like my daughter wanted to have, I don't know if you've ever been to a paint your own pottery studio where you go in and paint little figurines. And she wanted to have her fourth birthday party there. And I said, I'm not paying $25 for a kid to get a little $4 figurine. I was like, but I'll open one of those studios and you can have your fifth birthday party there. So I did. So with that one, the challenges were marketing. And I can honestly say, I think through all of my businesses, it's been marketing. I had a franchise that had three different locations, and I was the owner of all three of them. And that was actually during COVID. And we were door to door canvassers. So I had 17 salespeople in three different cities going out doing, $2 million a year, knocking on doors, and then all the doors shut. So I had no marketing plan. And so it all goes back to that marketing. You can have the best idea, the best message, the best plan, but if you don't have the marketing, you're going to struggle.
Okay, so that's definitely a struggle that you were facing before, and now in this specific business, it looks like you are actually helping other people fix this issue. So can you tell us, like, how did you manage to bridge this gap?
Well, in doing what I'm doing, I also coach and stuff like that. But this project is more of a wanting to help other people, help other people. And I think it was just, I've mastered some of the little, like if I decide to launch a course, I can successfully now, I've learned enough about the marketing that I can successfully launch a course and get my target number of people in there. And I've learned how to do it relatively inexpensively because I've had to really work on kind of a shoestring budget. So I think that's the it was trial and error. It was just trying different things. I always tell people, you can reach out for all the freebies in the world. The freebies tell you the what, not the how. So I tell people, find a coach, find someone that can do it for you or help you do it or walk you through the steps, because it's kind of like being on a healing journey. You can read all the books in the world about how to heal your childhood wounds, but until you actually do the work, it doesn't manifest into anything. So I think I just kind of really came up with whatever. I mean, I love building spreadsheets. I love that kind of thing. So I just found a system that worked. And after each launch I did, it got better and better and better. And so I didn't want to necessarily be a coach, though, that helped people launch businesses, if that makes sense. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be a coach that helped people help people. So that's why I came up with this series. I was like, oh, I can market their information and let their business explode. And in turn, I'm selling the courses and I'm getting the money for that.
Hmm.
So
Great, great. And then what tip can you share with someone watching us here or listening to this episode who is thinking about starting their own course or selling their own course, or like if they're struggling with something when it comes to selling the course?
find someone that can help you do it, because you might have your intentions are always really good, but it helps to have an outside perspective. It helps to have somebody else that can look at what you're doing. And we all know what we think people need, but we need somebody else to tell us what they need. So I think that's the biggest thing, is to find someone to work with. Really, don't try. It will take you forever. And there are people out there that have mastered it, that can shortcut it for you by years.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a great wisdom. And if someone wants to actually connect to you or find out a little bit more about you, how they can do that?
Probably the easiest way is just go to my website. It's just my name, www.tammyvincent.com, and you can reach out, book a chat, whatever. I don't charge to just chat. So you can everything I do is on there pretty much. So that's the best place, easiest.
Nice. And just before we finish this episode, if there is any question that I didn't ask you, maybe that you would like to share with our audience, or any tip or anything else, please, now you can share it.
Yeah, no, I think my best tip is just go for it. All the ideas in the world are great, but until you put them on paper or you actually take a step forward, you'll never know. And you got to just go for it. If you have an idea and it just keeps you up at night and your head is spinning, it's worth giving it a try. And for all the people that you don't like authority and don't want to have that boss anymore, the world is your oyster when it comes to being an entrepreneur right now. There's a million different things you can do. So find what lights you up and just go for it.
Totally. I agree 100%. Tammy, thank you so much for being a guest today. Thank you all for watching and listening to this episode. If you liked it, drop us a like and subscribe, and also share it with your friends and family. And we'll see you all in the next episode. All the best, and bye bye.